The race for critical minerals to power the green energy transition has led resource companies to the sea floor. Large deposits in the Pacific Ocean mean it could be the site of the next big mining boom. But environmentalists say mining the deep sea could have a catastrophic global impact on the environment. This special two-part investigation from SBS reporter Lucy Murray in the Cook Islands.
From paddleboards to pina coladas, the Cook Islands is a postcard paradise. But as what lies beneath its pristine waters, they could be its golden ticket. Offshore, there are huge deposits of cobalt and copper 5 kilometres below the surface.
All right, have a good trip. Thank you.
The Prime Minister is personally joining a resource company on an expedition to map the seabed. Mark Brown is pushing for his nation to be the first to allow deep-sea mining.
It's important for me as a Prime Minister, as a leader, to be out there as well, to experience the sort of work that will be undertaken on these sorts of exploration missions.
Last year, his government awarded deep-sea exploration licences to Moana Minerals and 2 other companies.
The key for us is how do we turn this wealth into income for our country?
The permits allow the companies to investigate if deep-sea mining is viable, but they're not a green light to mine. The target is these golf ball-sized rocks. Formed over millions of years, they're known as polymetallic nodules.
We estimate that there are roughly 500 million tonnes of these nodules laying on the sea floor. And within these nodules, we have predominantly manganese, cobalt, nickel, copper, and then the rare earths.
Commodities needed in the green energy transition as they're used to make batteries.
In our exploration license area, $5–10 billion, if not more. Unique little golden nuggets.
But the cash comes at a price. Deep-sea mining involves a machine similar to a bulldozer. It dredges the seabed, collecting the nodules and surrounding dirt, pumping it back to the ship in a 5-kilometre hydraulic-operated pipe. On board, the nodules are run through a large sieve. The excess water and dirt return to the ocean. A process scientists say could create underwater dust storms that drift on currents and choke deep-sea creatures.
It is a very small piece of the ocean that we are disturbing, not the entire ocean.
700 international marine experts disagree, signing a petition for a 10-year moratorium on seabed mining. They say very little is known about deep-sea ecosystems or the possible impact of mining.
The ocean has already got pressures on it. There's plastic pollution, there's overfishing, and to have deep-sea mining, it's just going to compound all these issues.
Environmental scientist Jacqueline Evans is a signatory. The Cook Islander is concerned her government is rushing and relying solely on data provided by resource companies.
It concerns us. We've been asking for independent research to be done.
It'll be a nice day out there.
Her passion for the ocean stems from a youth spent snorkelling in the pristine waters surrounding the main island. Here, the ocean is entwined in every aspect of life. It's vital to livelihoods and cultural traditions.
It's really important for tourism, but also in terms of our subsistence fishing and industrial fishing that we have. There's a lot of economic benefit to having a beautiful, pristine environment.
The Cook Islands isn't the first country to try deep-sea mining. In 2011, the Mexican government issued an exploration licence to a resource company, but decided not to go ahead with a mining permit. It is now being sued for $2 billion in alleged losses of future profits. Despite the risks, the Prime Minister says the industry is desperately needed to diversify the economy. In the villages, houses are abandoned. 80% of the population has moved overseas seeking higher paid jobs. And the pandemic showed the country could not rely on tourism.
Sunday night's Italian night.
Back on board, Mark Brown says mining won't go ahead unless resource companies prove it can be done without serious harm to the environment. But he is willing to accept some risk if it advances the nation.
Do you have to be pragmatic when it comes to deep sea mining?
Pragmatism is by nature a necessity. when you live in a small island state. We're in a country that has very limited resources. We have to make bold decisions sometimes, and we have to lead the way in order to get to where we want to go and not just follow the cries of other people.
These cries coming from 7 neighbouring countries who oppose mining. They say the Pacific Ocean and its vital fish stocks are shared.
There will be an environmental impact. The question is, how bad will that impact be?
The Cook Islands is one of the smallest countries in the world, but it's poised to make a decision with global ramifications. In Rarotonga, Lucy Murray, SBS World News.
That story produced in collaboration with Al Jazeera and supported by the Sean Dorney Grant for Pacific Journalism through the Walkley Public Fund. This Sunday, SBS News investigates how the debate is dividing the Pacific.